If you want to make beautiful infographics with Google Gemini Nanobanana Pro, what you want to do is simply watch this video and I'll show you in a few minutes how you can get infographics like this every single time. So if you want an infographic, you firstly need to do three things. One of the first things you need to do is you need to pick a topic. So I'm going to say create an infographic about the top 10 AI companies in the world. Now that is relatively simple, but depending on what you want to create, there's many different styles that you can do. So one of the first things you want to do is always define your aspect ratio. If you don't define your aspect ratio, it's going to be automatically defined by Google. So if you want something that's kind of like a poster for like a mobile phone screen, make sure that you say aspect ratio 9:16. That way it's going to give you the phone version if you're making it on a phone. If you are doing it for desktop for a YouTube video, for example, then do 16:9. That is what you want to use instead. So make sure you switch it up. Or if you want it for Instagram, do 1:1. So there are three different aspect ratios that you can do. So first, let's do 9:16 without any external prompting. So right here, you can see that the aspect ratio is 9:16. And this is really good because this now means that you can print this out as a poster. You can show this on your phone and it looks really good natively. And of course, if you have a listicle, this is arguably the perfect format. So you don't really need to do too much, but this is exactly how you want to do it if you're on the other way. So what I'm now going to do is I'm now going to say, of course, 1:1. And this is, of course, for Instagram. So when you change the aspect ratio, you have to remember it's going to change the format. So let's do aspect ratio 1:1 and I'll show you guys exactly what that looks like. So here you can see that when we created the infographic with an aspect ratio of 1:1, this shows you that it is perfect for posting directly to Instagram or even Twitter. So those are going to be the perfect areas where you want to use this because most infographics are going to be posted to social media. And now that you have this tool here, it's important to know the different aspect ratios. Now, if you want an infographic for YouTube videos or 16:9, I'm going to show you guys exactly what that looks like. So at the end, just make sure you type in 16:9, you do 16:9, then you want to click update, and then you're going to see that this is perfect for those videos kind of use case. And so now we have the 16:9 aspect ratio. And here we can see that this actually looks really good. And this is the kind of thing that you could put in a video. For example, if you click open image in new tab, you can see that you can actually make this entire image full screen and the aspect ratio is full for videos. Now, most of you guys may have realized that this infographic, there is one key issue, and that is of course the quality. So there's actually a solution for that. On the Google Gemini Nanobanana area, make sure you click download full size. This is going to give you access to the full 4K quality. So let's click that button. And now you can see after downloading it, the infographic in full screen is absolutely incredible. So this is of course exactly what you want to do because this has a variety of different use cases. And I would say that this makes infographic creation, making content a ton easier. Of course, do make sure you double check these and fact check them because there is a lot of text and sometimes it can and will make mistakes. So do fact check them. But what do you want to do if you want to get a little bit more specific with the style of your content? This is something that I wanted and I've realized how I can actually finish the style. That way it can be on brand. So I have my AI grid brand. My brand is black, purple, white, and it looks really cool. So let me show you guys what not to do, and then I'll show you guys exactly how to do it. So what you really want to do is when you're defining your infographic, you want to make sure you define the background, define the main color scheme, and of course, define the text color. And then of course, you can see that this is essentially on brand with my brand. Now, there's another way I'm going to show you guys how to do this. But the reason that I want to show you guys why you'd want to do this is because everyone's social media brand is completely different. And if you just make infographics that are very basic, that are just the same simple ones that everyone else is doing, your content isn't going to stand out as much. So it's important to understand that you use this format when creating your infographics. Of course, as always, download the full size and then, of course, make sure that the aspect ratio is inputted. Then, of course, you can share it for any platform. Now, this is my specific workflow for actually creating specific infographics. And this is what I would use personally because I think this is probably the quickest way. I use a tool called Ideogram. The reason I use this tool is because it is much faster than Nanobanana, but I don't use it to create images. I only use it to drive how those images look. So let's say I wanted a really specific style, but I didn't know how to create that style. With Ideogram, I can input the same prompt, and if I click generate, and this is only going to cost 1 or 2 credits, it's very, very quick. in a couple of seconds, I'm going to get a bunch of different things. Now here, I can also change the aspect ratio really quickly. So I'm going to get 4 images. And then what I can now do is with any one of these images, I can use these as an actual template in order to then create my infographic. So let's say I like one of these that look really cool. Let's say I want this one. I can copy this image now. Then in Nanobanana, I can say create an infographic that uses this style and make it about the top 10 most powerful AI companies in the world. And so what Nanobanana will now do is use this specific style, and then it will go forward and create the image. So now if I click go ahead, and of course I ensure aspect ratio to 9:16. So that is, of course, the aspect ratio that is for phones. Now I'm going to get an image that is not only on brand, but with a specific style. So now you can see here, I actually have an image that is in my specific style with my specific brand in a way that I can share that is much better than the generic image. Most people are just going to quickly create the image, share the image, and of course it's not going to look as good. So this is how you can create images on brand in your style in a few seconds. Of course, you could ask Nanobanana to create several different styles, but it does take a bit of time. That's why, of course, probably Nanobanana Flash will be released soon. But of course, that is why I opted for this workflow, because it is just remarkably effective. Now, if you wanted to use that exact image, you have to say in your prompt, create an infographic using this image, and then make it about whatever it is that you want to make it about. So now you can see right here that it then goes ahead and uses those that are the top 10. Now, of course, it's important to make sure that it is always the right information and make sure that it includes the right values that you do want. Of course, if you wanted to say list them by their market cap, because of course the numbers on the right are just, super random, you will need to add a bit more details. But this is for those of you who want to expedite that super design process. This looks a lot better than the traditional standard Google Nanobanana infographic, and this looks like someone else created it in a graphic design firm. So for me, this is going to be how I'm going to be creating infographics moving forward, or creating assets for videos. It's remarkably easy. It's a simple workflow. You just need to have first the driving image, then you have Google update that driving image with the relevant data, and then you can use it for whatever platform you do please. If you have any comments, any queries, don't forget to check out the 10-minute AI Grid community. I'm talking to everyone in there. We're constantly solving issues, constantly using the latest AI tools, and we're constantly moving forward and staying at the frontier. If that's something that interests you, don't forget to check it out.